Tonight on CTV News, calls to change landmark laws.
Let's not wait for further uncertainty. We can get in here and get that done this week.
Why the BC Conservatives want the legislature to be recalled after a court ruling creating more uncertainty about land use in our province.
Frightening for people who suddenly realize that at any time somebody might get approval to put a tower next door to them without any public hearing.
The city's plan to rezone a third of the city to allow social housing towers 20 stories high, where they could go and the pushback.
I'm excited to announce today that the Huntkaminam name for the bridge replacing the Patullo Bridge is Stallo Awesome.
A milestone for the replacement for the Patullo Bridge, much delayed and over budget. When will it finally be ready?
This is CTV News with me, Jung Lee.
Good evening, and thanks for joining us. There are growing calls tonight for the NDP government to repeal the province's Declaration on the Rights of the Indigenous Peoples Act. It comes after a court ruling found some provincial laws were inconsistent with the act. As CTV's Rob Buffum reports, even the Premier is critical of the ruling, saying it's an overreach by the courts.
The Conservatives' new interim leader, Trevor Holford, wants the NDP to come back early from its Christmas holidays so the government can repeal DRIPA, the Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous Peoples Act.
I don't think that we can wait over 60 days until this legislature reconvenes.
The demand after a BC Court of Appeal ruling released Friday that found the province's mineral claim system was inconsistent with the United Nations Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous Peoples. The court also saying that BC should immediately incorporate the UN Declaration in all its laws. And where they are inconsistent, the province should get its laws in line with UNDRIP, and the courts can intervene if it doesn't.
Right now, we are in the absolute throes of uncertainty. That's across British Columbia.
Premier Eby says his government won't repeal DRIPA, but will make amendments to it.
When we set up the Declaration of the Rights of Indigenous People Act, we were very clear that this wasn't the territory of the courts. This is the territory of government negotiating with First Nations, setting the pace and choosing the laws to bring into alignment.
First Nations leadership say even amending DRIPA would hurt reconciliation.
If there isn't any amendments and there's any way that this is waters down DRIPA, I think there are many First Nations will take it into their own hands and use every tool in their shed, if you will.
Friday's decision following the Cowichan Tribes case that has created uncertainty regarding property rights in Richmond prompted the Independent Contractors and Business Association of BC to also push for the province to immediately repeal DRIPA.
The very basic issue here is who owns the land and who has the right to make decisions on the use of that land. Now, that's fundamental to everything in our economy.
The Premier says the government is still reviewing the court decision and doesn't want to rush the amendment such that it could create further uncertainty. So don't expect politicians back here until mid-February.
Rob Buffum joins us live from Victoria. Rob, what has the Premier said about possible appeals of this recent court case?
Well, Mijang, Premier Eby has indicated that his preference is to go by way of the amendments he talked about making today. So although it's not been ruled out, I suppose an appeal to the Supreme Court of Canada is not the preferred route, at least at this point. But it's worth noting that the courts are likely going to be dealing with this issue in some form or another going forward, because remember, the Cowichan Tribes decision that has attracted so much controversy is being appealed, and it's being appealed to this BC Court of Appeal that on Friday indicated that it thinks all of BC's laws should be seen through this lens of UNDRIP. So undoubtedly this is an issue that is not going away, including in the courts. Mijang.
Rob Buffum reporting live tonight from Victoria. Drivers will soon be able to cross the new Patullo Bridge. Traffic will begin shifting to the replacement deck in a couple of weeks. And today, the bridge got a new name. But as CTV's Brianne Foley reports, questions still surround the price tag and how long it's taken to get here.
I see 4 lanes replacing 4 lanes, and that is a glaring thing that sticks out to a lot of people on both ends.
Though the Patullo Bridge replacement is changing its name to the Stallo Awesome, also known as the Riverview Bridge, the physical infrastructure is still being criticized.
Complete missed opportunity, once generational project, and here we are, 4 lanes. This is complete insanity.
The opposition BC Conservatives also question the time it's taken to complete the new bridge.
Well, it's way over budget, and the timeline is always getting extended by this government.
The $1.63 billion bridge was originally expected to open in 2023, then pushed to 2024. Now 2 years behind schedule, the transportation minister says it will partially open December 24th.
New bridge completely connected and final paving underway, which is a major milestone for the project and for the people of the region. And I'm pleased to confirm that traffic will begin shifting to the new bridge in phases over the coming weeks as final works wrap.
Controversy also surrounds the materials and workers used.
Chinese steel that was there was a lot of fabrication, a lot of altering that needed to be done in order for this bridge to even be built. But it also speaks to the local talent that we have here. I would just like to see more local companies get it on the manufacturing of the steel.
The jobs that people built this bridge are nearly all British Columbians, apprenticeships, good union Red Seal skilled workers, and materials have been sourced from, a lot of it here in Canada. Some of it does come from overseas.
As for drivers, Christmas Eve will see traffic being switched onto the new Stalo Awesome Bridge in the first northbound lane. By February, traffic is expected on all 4 lanes. Brianne Foley, CTV News, New Westminster.
To breaking news now, the BC Coroner Service has announced it will hold an inquest into the police-involved death of Chase de Ballenhard. CTV's Lauren Pullen is following this in the Breaking News Centre.
Mijang, the 15-year-old was shot and killed by Surrey RCMP on February 9th. Last week, BC's police watchdog cleared the officers of wrongdoing. It described a fast-moving situation where many non-lethal options were considered. Officers said the teen pointed a firearm at them multiple times, leading them to fear for their safety and for bystanders. The weapon was later confirmed to be a pellet gun. An inquest is required when a death occurs in police custody. A coroner and jury will review the evidence under oath to determine what happened and may issue recommendations to prevent similar deaths. The teen's family has been advocating for this inquiry for months.
He was completely in shutdown mode. He wasn't responding whatsoever. And I know how difficult that would have been as well for the officers involved. I still can't believe in 2025 that there's no mandatory autism training for police officers. Now there will be.
The IIO found that Chase was likely in sensory overload, which may have hampered the officers' attempts to de-escalate the situation. Last week, the province announced autism-specific training is now mandatory for all BC police officers. Mijang.
Thank you, Lauren. When World Cup teams come to Vancouver in June, they won't practice or play on just any grass field. FIFA has very specific requirements for tournament pitches. Today, we got an up-close look at a very pricey FIFA-approved grass field where the teams playing here will train in between matches at BC Place. CTV Shannon Patterson reports.
Vancouver's Killarney Park is preparing to host some of the world's best soccer players. It will be a training site for teams playing at BC Place during World Cup 2026.
At the draw, we learned that Australia, Switzerland, Qatar, Belgium, Egypt, and New Zealand will be the 6 teams who will make this training facility their home come June, and possibly others, as we host 2 more matches in the latter stages of the tournament.
This isn't just any old grass. Training sites in World Cup host cities need to meet FIFA's very strict specifications.
The grass has been growing for nearly a year off-site before being brought here in August, treated under extreme heat and watered only when critical. The result is this tournament-time pitch engineered for strength, density, and safety.
The project is ahead of schedule and on budget. The cost to make this field FIFA ready, $24 million.
That's millions of dollars of investment needed to go underground. This site is underlaid with peat. For those that are driving around the roads, you can see there's a little hill and dale up and down. It's a bit of a roller coaster ride around the neighborhood, so a lot of that infrastructure is underground.
BC Place will also install a real grass pitch to FIFA's specifications for World Cup matches.
For us, this is a BC-made solution, with that grass growing, as I speak to you today, in the Fraser Valley. The whole field of play construction will commence in late April 2026.
When the tournament is over, the real grass field at BC Place will be torn out. Eventually, the Killarney field will also be converted to turf.
We do plan to keep it for a few years to see how it does, but the reality is a grass pitch can only take several hundred hours of play, but one day we'll convert this to synthetic turf, which could take thousands of hours of play in this beautiful park.
Eventually, kids will play soccer at this very expensive World Cup legacy. Shannon Patterson, CTV News, Vancouver.
Broadway blocked. A stretch of the street will soon be closed for months. How businesses are bracing and now demanding compensation. The story in just a moment. But first, let's take a look outside from Grouse Mountain. Plenty of clouds. It looks quite dark and gray, and it's been a very drizzly day today.
Yes, a very wet atmospheric river pushing in a lot of rain, and we'll continue to see that as we head through this evening. Rainfall warning in effect for the northeast and northwest portions of Metro Vancouver, as well as up the Sea to Sky Highway. 50 to 80 millimeters of rain before all is said and done later on tonight. And so we will slowly dry up through the overnight. A mild night at 7 degrees. Into tomorrow, we'll start off dry with mostly cloudy skies, and then rain returns late tomorrow night with a few showers in the afternoon and a high of 9.
CTV Weather brought to you by Expedia Cruises. Make the most of your next trip by booking with those who've been there. Visit expediacruises.ca.
Warm temperatures, though, with the rain, and we'll continue to see more of it. Those details coming up.
Yeah, that's not what skiers want to hear.
No, no snow at all on our Onoco Mountains.
All right, thanks, Ann. Business owners along Broadway who have seen profits tank during construction of the new subway are demanding compensation. They're holding an urgent meeting tonight to figure out their next moves as the impact of the project is about to get worse. CTV's Sinjin Alexander has the details.
It's not coming down for another couple of years. It's actually going to get higher.
The dizzying confusion of fences, detours, and prohibitions is about to get even more puzzling, especially here, Broadway in Maine, because beginning next month, it will be cut off completely to all vehicle traffic.
This has come out of the blue, and it's going to be devastating for these businesses.
For 5 years, businesses along the route whose bottom lines have suffered during construction of the Broadway line are now banding together, demanding one-on-one meetings with government officials.
And so it's time for them to step up and lend a little help. They say small business is important. Well, here it is.
Invited to what's called an urgent town hall are the ministers of transportation, jobs, and finance. Though it's not clear any will show up. The shopkeepers want compensation for their hardship, but it doesn't sound like they're in luck.
We work closely with affected businesses, doing what we can, making sure that mitigation strategies can be put in place. In terms of compensation and grants, that is not something that any government in this province has done on infrastructure projects.
One guy says he's at risk of losing his home. Over the past weekend, some of them have revealed to me they've had to take second jobs just to keep the lights and the doors open at their primary businesses.
The government says this block needs to be closed for several months to tear down the temporary bridge decks and repave the road. Shutting down, they insist, is the quickest way to complete this portion of the subway, which is already above budget and behind schedule. Sinjin Alexander, CTV News, Vancouver.
A GoFundMe page has been set up for the family of a 9-year-old girl who was struck and killed by a cube van in Surrey last week. The organizer of the online fundraiser posting this photo of Shamina with the goal of raising $35,000 to help cover funeral costs, adding that Shamina and her family arrived in Surrey from Bangladesh only a month ago and were hoping for a fresh start. The child had been walking near Newton Elementary School around 2:30 on Friday when she was struck by a cube van. She was taken to hospital in critical condition where she later died of her injuries. Police say the driver involved is cooperating with the investigation. The federal government is now stepping up efforts to make it easier and more attractive for foreign-trained doctors to practice in Canada. The provincial government is pleased in offering special hope for applicants to navigate the bureaucracy. CTV's Penny Daflos explains.
The nationwide effort to get Canadians medical care faster is ramping up.
We are launching a new express entry category specifically for international doctors.
With at least a year of work experience in Canada, the immigration minister is also promising expedited work permits.
A doctor will be able to secure a job get nominated by a province or territory, and have their work permit processed in just 14 days.
We look forward to working with them on this, but really where we are focused is provincial policy around the provincial nominee program.
Under that program, the province supports qualified immigrants in the economic stream with a pathway to permanent residency. BC is trying to stand out from the crowd.
It's the best place to be living and working.
Trained healthcare workers can register to have a personal navigator help them tackle the bureaucracy from college approvals to job applications. Some health authorities are throwing in goodies. Vancouver Coastal Health will reimburse up to $23,000 for certain moving expenses, for example.
The practice ready assessment program that British Columbia offers, working with physician assistants, working with others who can come in and maybe they work under supervision to make sure that their experience, their credentials are exactly what we need here in British Columbia. We want to do everything we can.
Health Canada estimates the country is short nearly 23,000 primary care doctors.
Around 13,000 internationally trained physicians in Canada are not working in their field. The changes announced today will help put their skills to work sooner.
It'll take time to see how effective these measures are and which provinces are the most persuasive. Penny Daflas, CTV News, Vancouver.
The community is divided on a controversial motion that goes before Vancouver Council tomorrow to allow for 20-story social housing towers without a public hearing. Also ahead.
A little bit nervous, but I'm hoping everything will be okay and we'll be home next Monday.
Travel turbulence looming for Air Transat passengers. Pilots have issued 72-hour strike notice. How soon holiday plans could be in turmoil. And a Facebook marketplace meetup ends in a terrifying attack and robbery for a Calgary couple. When CTV News at 6 continues, stay with us. A housing initiative in Vancouver is facing pushback tonight. A veteran urban planner is sounding the alarm over density concerns. But as CTV's Dimitra Maragos reports, those working in the supportive housing space say just because the initiative allows for taller buildings doesn't mean that will happen.
Wow, what a neighborhood.
Dozens gathered in Dunbar to learn more about a social housing initiative that will be put to a vote on Tuesday. Designed to amend zoning and development bylaws, relaxing regulation on permits on social housing. If passed, it will also increase the height of social housing to 20 stories.
Frightening for people who suddenly realize that at any time somebody might get approval to put a tower next door to them without any public hearing, without any public process.
Geller says while he supports the need for more social housing, building tall towers in low-rise neighborhoods opens the door to issues.
I don't think putting high-rises next to 2-story and 3-story houses is always appropriate from a planning point of view.
The areas highlighted in purple would allow for social housing up to 20 stories, impacting largely residential neighborhoods.
Changing the zoning on 33,000 plus lots to allow that is a bit like cracking a nut with a sledgehammer. I mean, it's overkill.
The Minister of Housing says this initiative is necessary.
We're facing significant affordability challenges, particularly housing related.
The CEO of Brightside Community Homes Foundation says the initiative not only allows for more housing, but also positively impacts nonprofits' bottom line.
It just allows that bit of cost savings and certainty to those nonprofits and to be able to get that funding from the government quicker.
As far as those large-scale buildings, Azaroff says they would be strategic.
Those would only be earmarked in areas that are already allocated to build that kind of density.
And argues,
so why shouldn't nonprofit housing providers be able to build that kind of density where for-profit housing providers are already allowed to do that?
For Geller, he says during Tuesday's vote,
what I'm hoping is that Council will approve the initiative in principle, but ask staff to reconsider where the 20-story buildings should be allowed.
CTV News reached out to City Hall. They say they're unable to provide a comment until a decision has been made. Dimitra Maragos, CTV News, Vancouver.
RCMP are back at a logging blockade on southern Vancouver Island. They are enforcing a court-ordered injunction which prohibits people from blocking roads near Lake Cowichan. It comes just 2 weeks after the first round of arrests in the area, which is about an hour-and-a-half drive north of Port Renfrew. Today, 4 men were arrested for breaching the injunction.
They have 40 police officers, but
we are willing to be out here in the harshest weather and to just stay on the road. And I think ultimately they are not. What the RCMP have shown is that they're actually incapable of fighting us.
The injunction that police are enforcing was granted to Sawaquin Forestry. The logging company says it plans to resume harvesting in the area when it's safe to do so. It's unclear if and when that will happen, as the blockaders say they don't have any plans to leave. The province, City of Burnaby, and YWCA are partnering up to provide extra support for women and children who are fleeing violence.
The community, the sense of safety and stability, and the ability to take a deep breath and start planning for a better future, all of that is immeasurably valuable.
The new YWCA Cindy Beattie Place in Burnaby will provide 56 new long-term affordable homes and 37 new childcare spaces. Each of the units in the 4-story building will have either 2 or 3 bedrooms, each with a bathroom, kitchen, and dining area. The building is being funded by Cindy Beattie Foundation and Childcare BC's New Spaces Fund. The family of a young man murdered in Surrey 7 years ago is appealing to the public for any clues to his mysterious death. Also coming up.
What surprised me the most is when they re-entered my home the second time.
Terrifying video of how a Calgary couple attempting to sell their computer ended up being attacked. The dangers of posting on Facebook Marketplace ahead. One charge has been laid following a BC extortion task force investigation into a shooting at a mansion in South Surrey last month. RCMP say the home has been targeted twice by extortion-related gunfire. 21-year-old Avtar Singh has been charged with 1 count of unlawfully discharging a firearm in the November 12th incident. Singh was arrested last week and his next court appearance is scheduled for Wednesday. RCMP say the investigation is ongoing. 7 years after a 26-year-old man was killed in Surrey, his family is asking for the public's help to finally get answers and justice. Bradley Klein was found dead in his Surrey home December 7th, 2018. RCMP later determined his death was suspicious and homicide investigators were called in. Despite years of work, no charges have been laid in his death. Now investigators and Klein's family are urging anyone with information, no matter how small, to come forward, saying it's never too late to do the right thing. A Calgary couple says they were forced to fight for their lives during a violent attempted robbery in their home. The disturbing incident was caught on home security cameras. As CTV's Kevin Green tells us, police are investigating to see if it's related to other similar robberies in the city.
Saturday afternoon, Jason Nguyen was trying to sell a laptop. He let a pair of prospective buyers into his Dover home to test it. Seconds later, a can of bear spray was unleashed in his face.
The moment that I turned towards the laptop, that's when I was hit with the bear spray. They sprayed all across my face, towards the eye, and at that point, I'm just acting reactively. For me, the safety of my wife is priority.
His wife, Nan Au, heard the commotion and ran out of their bedroom. By then, Nguyen was being pulled out the front door.
I see he's being dragged outside. And in front of our house, we have the shovel. So I just grabbed the shovel and kick in the individual that hurting my husband and to let him let go.
As Al kept swinging the shovel, one of the men broke away and ran down the steps, then turned and began kicking Nguyen in the ribs.
I'm really scared. I'm mostly scaring for our life.
But the assailants weren't finished yet. After kicking Nguyen in the front yard, one of them ran back into the house.
So he dropped his phone. So he came in and he picked up his phone. At that point, I still didn't know why he was re-entering our home, right? And so I started attacking him.
The attackers never did get the laptop, but the assault left the family home's walls stained with bear spray residue and Nguyen's arms and legs covered in bruises. The Calgary Police Service says it is investigating whether this attack is connected to other online sale robberies in the city.
Do we have people out there doing this on the regular? Regrettably, yes, we do. Do we know this is tied to one of those things? We don't know that yet, but we'll certainly be looking into that.
The Better Business Bureau says incidents like this underscore the risk of letting strangers into your home to complete a transaction.
Don't meet without at least one other person.
When you go somewhere, make sure it's a busy public spot, and you know, that will go a long ways to ensuring your safety.
And closer to home, another attempted robbery and assault was caught on camera in Pitt Meadows, with RCMP now asking for the public's help identifying a pair of suspects. RCMP releasing this security video of the suspects involved in the incident, which unfolded just after 8 p.m. on October 10th in the 12400 block of Harris Road. Officers say the victim arranged to sell a phone online and met the alleged buyer and another person in the lobby of his building. The pair attempted to steal the phone, with one of them pepper spraying the victim before both suspects fled the scene without the phone. An Ottawa man says he was left humiliated after he was accused of shoplifting at a grocery store. Shadi Zekri went to buy a sandwich but was stopped by 2 employees after checking out. He believes a large bulge from a hernia that has since been removed may have drawn attention to him, adding that staff asked him what he had under his jacket. After repeated attempts to convince the employees he didn't steal anything, Zekri said he felt he couldn't leave the store, and what happened next was humiliating.
I'm like, I didn't steal anything, guys. Like, and I ended up ripping up my, opening up my jacket and literally lifting up exposing my massive hernia that I had. I think it was a combination of saw the bulge, saw my skin color, saw the way I was dressed.
In a statement, Farm Boy says it's working to address the unfortunate situation directly with Zekri, and that while staff did not request he lift his shirt, his experience didn't live up to Farm Boy's standards. Zekri said he was offered a $300 gift card to the store, but says that's not good enough. He's asking for a formal apology and more training for employees. A car rental could turn into a nasty surprise if your insurance doesn't cover an accident. What you need to know. Also ahead, a different kind of street fight in a Calgary neighborhood, a dramatic wildlife drama between 2 stags captured on camera. That's next on CTV News at 6. The city of Stockholm has been lit up by colorful art installations honoring the work of Nobel Prize laureates. The festival is presented by the Nobel Prize Museum and brings together international and local artists. 19 large-scale installations are on display across the city, inspired by scientific discoveries as well as contributions in literature and peace. Video of a fight captured in Calgary is going viral because of the participants involved. Locals stopped and watched as a pair of stags locked antlers. The 2 bucks were butting heads and locking antlers on Saturday afternoon while a family living in the neighborhood watched it go down. A 3rd deer could be seen further down the road watching the fight as well. In the end, the stags eventually settled things before running off. Wow. I guess that 3rd deer was probably the female that they were fighting over.
Yeah, and she was just watching to see who the winner was going to be.
Yeah, and I was just impressed by all the snow there, too, actually.
Yeah, snow there, not here, not even on our mountains. We are seeing rain out there, and we'll continue to see that with this low-pressure system. As you can see, an atmospheric river bringing in a lot of rain and warm temperatures as well. So we'll see anywhere between 50 to 80 millimeters of rain for the northeast and northwest corners of Metro Vancouver, as well as the Sea to Sky Highway, 50 to 75 millimeters for the inland sections of the north coast. And hopefully this will all end tonight when the rain eases off. A snowfall warnings in effect for the northeast corner of the province, as well as Chilcotin, 10 to 15 centimeters of snow slowly easing this evening as well. If you are headed onto the mountain passes, beware. We do have snowfall warnings in effect. Highway 1, Rogers Pass, 20 to 30 centimeters of snow into tomorrow morning. Highway 3, Kootenay Pass, upwards of 25 centimeters of snow before it eases. So rain will slowly dry up as we head through the overnight hours into tomorrow morning. Mostly cloudy skies with a few sunny breaks in there for your early morning commute. And then it's not until tomorrow night that the rain returns for your afternoon commute, and will continue into Wednesday. You will see some light snow for Fort St. John, your provincial forecast at the bottom of your screen. Wet and windy for Port Hardy tomorrow. You will see winds gusting to about 80 kilometers an hour in the afternoon. Starting off dry for Campbell River and Conucks. Rain rain returns in the afternoon with a high of 9. It'll be soggy for Tofino tomorrow. 9 degrees, showers in the afternoon for Port Alberni. Staying dry and mild. Temperatures between 10 and 11 from Nanaimo right down to Victoria under overcast skies. For the Sunshine Coast, rain in the afternoon and 9 degrees. Staying dry up the Sea to Sky Highway for Squamish. For Whistler, you'll see cloudy skies and showers and 4. And for us across the Lower Mainland, pretty mild as well. Starting off dry with rain in the afternoon. Temperatures between 9 and 10 degrees. Heading into Wednesday, it'll be soggy and 10. Drying up for Thursday with a slight chance of a shower or 2. Light rain on Friday, and it is going to be a very wet weekend ahead for Saturday and Sunday, with periods of rain continuing into Monday with highs to 10. CTV weather brought to you by Expedia Cruises for air, land, and sea vacations. So a couple breaks here and there, but for most part, it is going to be very wet as we head into the the third week of December. I can't believe it.
Already, yeah.
Into winter, shall we say.
Yeah, but very mild, which is, means no snow on the mountains.
No snow at all, unfortunately, for the skiers and snowboarders.
All right, thanks, Anne. Plenty of uncertainty for Air Transat passengers with flights in the next few days. How soon the pilots could be on strike. Also ahead.
I was a little bit shocked because I said, well, at least I'm lucky that it was only a windshield.
A warning to anyone planning to rent a car over the holidays, why you may want to say no to an offer to upgrade to a more expensive vehicle. That's just ahead. Taking a look at today's markets, the Canadian dollar traded for 72 cents. We haven't seen that for a while. Oil was down about $1, closing the day at $58.88 a barrel. Gold lost more than $25 on the day. The TSX and the Dow Jones both finished the day lower, down 141 points and 215 points, respectively. It appears many British Columbians are hitting the brakes on spending this holiday season. A new report from TD Bank says 38% plan to spend less this year. That is up 9% from last year. Nearly half of those polled say they will keep spending the same, but that's a sharp decrease from last year's total of 60%. Most say the main reason for cutting back is the cost of living. For those who are spending money here, the Buy Canadian sentiment remains strong, with almost 80% saying they intend to support local businesses this holiday season. Prepare to see Air Transat planes grounded. Pilots are primed to walk off the job as early as Wednesday morning after the union issued a 3-day strike notice. The airline initially planned to suspend all flights by tomorrow, but those flights are now scheduled to operate as planned. Air Transat says it has offered its pilots wage increases of 59% over the next 5 years, a number the union has called creative accounting. The two sides have been in negotiations for nearly a year, and experts say the timing of this strike notice is no accident.
They're doing this because this is the period of time where Transat is making its most money. It's the busiest time of the year for Transat. Planes are full, fares are high.
The federal government, meantime, has declined to comment when asked if it would intervene if a strike takes place. Only days after Netflix announced a deal with Warner Brothers Discovery, Paramount Skydance has launched a hostile takeover bid. The media and entertainment company put a $108 billion deal on the table. That includes assuming Warner Brothers debt. The Netflix offer is about $83 billion US. If Warner Brothers decides to accept the new offer, it would be forced to pay Netflix just under $3 billion as a penalty. Whichever way it goes, a deal would likely face federal review. If you rent a car over the holidays, you may want to get an upgrade to a more expensive or luxury vehicle, but you'll need insurance. But no matter what kind of coverage you have, you should know there could be limitations if you rent a luxury vehicle. Here's CTV's Pat Foran.
Ellen Economopoulos of Toronto took a road trip in Alberta with her children this past summer. She rented a vehicle, but unfortunately the windshield cracked after being hit by a piece of gravel.
On the way back to Calgary, I got a I noticed that there was a big loud sound in my windshields.
Economopoulos had car rental coverage through her credit card, but when she submitted a claim, it was denied because she was told the vehicle she rented was too expensive.
I didn't know about that, and I was a little bit shocked because I said, well, at least I'm lucky that it was only a windshield.
The insurance company, Global XL, said vehicles not covered are any vehicle with a manufacturer's suggested retail price, excluding all taxes, over $65,000 Canadian. The vehicle rented was a Dodge Durango RT 2025 with an MSRP of $73,695. As such, we are unable to cover any expenses in relation to your claim.
Are we supposed to ask how much the car is worth? I don't know. Whose job is it to tell us that?
My advice to anyone would be to read those provisions carefully.
The Insurance Bureau of Canada says whether it's a credit card or your own auto insurance policy, there may be limits on the type and value of vehicles you're allowed to rent. You really need to check the policy.
It may say $50,000. It may say $60,000. Each insurance company may have a different limit.
You can contact your insurance company to see if you can purchase additional coverage that will cover more expensive rental vehicles.
If you drive a Honda Civic and you pay a premium for a Honda Civic, it makes no sense to go and rent a Lamborghini with Honda Civic insurance.
Economopoulos had to pay $600 for the windshield repair, but is relieved that was the only damage done.
I rented so many cars and I didn't know that. And that's actually kind of dangerous because I could be liable for so much more.
Pat Foran, CTV News.
Roadside delivery. A police officer helps a woman give birth at the side of a highway. The video still ahead tonight. And pawn shop Santa. Adam finds out how an unexpected offer from a seamstress inspired an Esquimalt business owner to make his community more merry. Coming up on the Sawatsky Sign Off. Right now, here's a preview of your morning, Vancouver.
We spend a bit more time with older family members during the holidays. Have you noticed any changes? Tuesday on Your Morning Vancouver, the signs to look for in elderly parents or grandparents for cognitive decline. Also, what to give the child who has everything. How about the gift of education? The simple way you can contribute to someone else's RESP. We'll see you in the morning.
The Vancouver Conucks are back in action tonight, taking on the Detroit Red Wings. It is the third game in 4 nights for the Canucks, who are coming off a much-needed win against Minnesota Saturday, while Detroit defeated the Seattle Kraken in overtime. The puck drops just after 7. A concert trade publication has released a list of the most popular touring artists of the millennium so far, based on ticket sales. Topping Pollstar's rankings is Coldplay with 24.8 million tickets sold. Next is U2 with 20.2 million tickets sold, and Ed Sheeran with 19.6 million. Rounding out the top 5 is Dave Matthews Band and Taylor Swift with about 18.9 million. But keep in mind, her debut album was not released until 2006, and numbers of tickets sold is a different metric than money grossed. The nominations for the 83rd annual Golden Globes have been announced, and the big front runner is no surprise.
I need to find my daughter. Well, then call us back when you have the time. You just...
One battle after another continues to win critics over, if not the box office, with 9 nominations, including acting noms for 5 of its stars and scripting and directing nods for Paul Thomas Anderson. The Golden Globes launch award season into full swing on January 11th. Jimmy Kimmel has renewed his contract with Disney-owned ABC to continue hosting Jimmy Kimmel Live. A source says Kimmel signed a one-year extension to take his late-night show through May 2027. Earlier this year, Kimmel was caught in the middle of the country's political divide when ABC executives temporarily pulled his show. The move came after his comments during a monologue about Charlie Kirk's suspected killer. Hollywood quickly rallied around Kimmel boycotting Disney, and the show was brought back. Where were you 45 years ago today? It was on this date in 1980 that music icon John Lennon was killed, a moment that shocked the world and is still remembered decades later. The famous member of the Beatles was shot by disturbed fan Mark David Chapman in front of his New York apartment building, where he lived with Yoko Ono and their son, Sean. Lennon and Ono were returning home from a recording session. Chapman is still serving his sentence in a New York area prison. Lennon was 40 years old. Yeah, you guys are probably too young to remember.
I just moved into this country. I had no idea.
Yeah, I just remember I was in school. It was all over the news. And Chapman had actually asked for John Lennon for his autograph earlier in the day, and so he'd been planning this for months.
I didn't know Lennon was so young when he
Yeah, he would have been 85 had he still been alive. Okay, well, talk about being in the right place at the right time. A police officer is being praised after helping deliver a baby on the side of a highway. The Oklahoma State Trooper had pulled over to check on a woman and quickly realized she was going into labor inside her car. He called 911, but the baby just couldn't wait, so the officer sprung into action, delivering the baby in the front seat. An ambulance arrived shortly after to take both mom and newborn to hospital. Authorities say they're both doing well. The officer says all he did was play catch. Aww, I don't know. Okay. It brings back memories because I also thought that I was going to deliver on Burrard Street.
Oh my God.
Stuck in traffic, trying to get to St. Paul's Hospital. The traffic was terrible.
Wow. But you made it.
Made it, and he was born half an hour after we got to the hospital, so it was close.
Amazing.
But didn't have to do the calling police from Burrard Street. Okay, Lauren's here. What's coming up tonight at 11:30, Lauren?
Well, Mijung, we know that the holidays can be tough for so many families, and tonight we'll have more on a local mission to help. And things are already getting fiery at an urgent town hall about the Broadway subway plan and yet another construction closure. Businesses say will hit them hard. And I just spoke with our reporter Isabella Zavarese. She tells me people are even more frustrated tonight as the province is a no-show at this point, despite multiple ministers being invited.
Yeah, it's been delayed many times. Okay, thank you, Lauren. Finally, he looks like Santa, sounds like Santa, and for many families, he feels like Santa. Adam finds out how a pawnbroker on Vancouver Island was inspired by the man in red on tonight's Sawatsky Sign-Off.
Doug Scott started cleaning counters at this pawn shop when he was a kid.
I would come after school and do my homework here, and you ended up helping out Mom, and you ended up, helping out Dad.
And Doug ended up taking over the business when his parents retired, with the goal of helping folks make ends meet.
A lot of people are check to check, and sometimes they need, a tire goes out, or they need a new pair of boots for work.
But at this time of the year, sometimes they need more. Which brings us to Doug's beard, which he says his wife lets him start growing after their anniversary.
Well, I was clean-shaven when we got married. She's not really a beard fan.
But a lot of people are, because of who it makes Doug look like.
People go, oh, give me a ho-ho-ho, and you go, for some reason I can't do it unless I'm in my suit.
A suit that a seamstress came into the shop to offer him one day, but not to pawn.
She came forward and said that she would make me a Santa suit.
So he graciously accepted before accessorizing it with a handmade belt.
A friend of mine from Whitehorse did the belt work for me.
That's pretty close to another northern place.
It is very close to the North Pole.
But Doug does all this for people close to home. Has been for more than 30 years.
I'm now to the point where little kids that were on my lap are bringing their children to me.
But the best thing, instead of charging a fee for the more than 20 events he appears at every season, Doug requests that a donation be made to the Santa's Anonymous Children's Charity.
Always brought up that the community supports us, we should support the community.
And Doug has found that when you focus on giving over getting,
it recharges your batteries. It really does. Give it a little shake of the bell.
You can't help but feel jolly. when you're making others feel merry.
And the kids know you're there.
Adam Sawatsky, CTV News, Esquimalt.
Wow.
That is the real life Santa, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Exactly the same.
I love the real beard.
Yeah.
Got to have the real beard,
He was
right?
born for it. All right, let's take a look at our scenic snapshot for tonight. A fabulous shot of a ferry heading under a rainbow. Thanks, Dino, for sending this one in. And we want to see your scenic snapshot as well, so email us at scenicsnapshot@ctv.ca.
Probably not a lot of rainbows in the next little while, right, Al?
Just a lot of rain.
All right, thanks for joining us. Lauren will be back tonight at 11:30.
Good night.